Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Penguin Podcast on DC Studio Podcast. We are covering episode 1, After Hours. We are your hosts, Vanessa, Andy.
And hello.
How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing good. Sorry, I'm still laughing so hard because because for our listeners at home listening, I hit record, but and then I was gonna play the intro, but Vanessa was about to start doing the intro, and so all you hear is
Listen, I was so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited too. It's been a hard minute, but I'm good. I'm glad it's finally fall because I felt the summer just went on a little too long when it came to the heat. So I'm ready for a rainy golf.
Yeah, totally. This is a very fall focused show, and I agree with you. I'm in Vegas. It's been hot. We had just got down to 72 degrees, so I'm really excited to just get into this series. Andy, actually, let me remind listeners, cursing is allowed, and just a little intro into the Penguin. The Penguin, if you have not seen The Batman 2022 starring Robert Pattinson, directed by Matt Reeves, I don't know why you're watching. I don't know why you're listening to this. You should watch the movie, and then come back to this, because the movie is this is 1 week post the movie. Yeah. It's starring Colin Farrell as Oz Cobb, aka Oswald Cobblepot, in the comics, aka the Penguin. It's an 8-episode series. I believe it's the only 1-episode series within Matt Reeves' Batman epic crime saga universe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's developed by Lauren LaFranc, who was I actually got the chance to see them on their panel at Comic-Con, which is really cool. From just that experience, I could tell everyone was so passionate about the show, and it was really cool to see how even Colin coming in from, I think he was in Australia filming something. It just seemed how everyone was so into passionate about the show. So I'm excited to really dive into it, because you can tell. And I want to know what your thoughts, Andy, overall about this. We've both seen many episodes outside of this one. What are your overall thoughts? Non-spoilery.
Yeah, of course. No, but listen, I loved the Batman. It was, one of my favorite, became one of my favorite DC movies in a good while. Even though you and I, we talked a lot about that. There's a lot of Batman presence in media. But what Matt Reeves has done with his universe is very refreshing. It's very fun. It's very different. So I when they start talking about we're gonna do spin-off, we're gonna spread out this universe. I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Penguin was always the one where I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna start with him. Okay, cool. But then I saw Colin Farrell. I'm like, okay, I'm here for it. Listen, we all grew up with Colin Farrell in one way or the other, and so this is, again, it's also exciting to kind of see. First of all, it's just exciting to have a DC show of this quality again. We haven't had that since. Things like Black Lightning and Watchmen and Doom Patrol. So I'm excited, with the Penguin. From what I've seen so far, I haven't finished the whole season yet, but from where I am right now, I'm really enjoying it. And it's again, even though I know it's a limited series, so I know we're on borrowed time, but it's really good so far.
Yeah, I agree.
What about you, Vanessa?
I think your point about Watchmen was a good point. I think it is on that level. I wasn't expecting it. I don't even like Penguin. He's never been my favorite. I think he's always been a really good Batman villain, but he's not my favorite. I don't think there's a lot of Batman villains that I'm like, ooh, I love. Obviously, Poison Ivy, I'm and Harley Quinn, they're my faves, right? But there are a lot of Batman villains who are just gross and creepy, and Penguin's one of them. And this show...
Well, you don't find Professor Pig appealing?
No. He is so there's but that's the thing, that's the effectiveness of Batman villains. The Gotham villains are they're serial killers, they're psychopaths, sometimes they're child molesters, they're gross, they're and Penguin is a character who I've always just he owns the bar, he's an Penguin, I don't know, he was just never someone I got. And then I think this show, and I stopped watching Gotham, this show on the CW. I think it
was on Fox.
On Fox. I'm sorry, on Fox. On Fox.
We have PTCWD. So
Gotham TV series on Fox. I stopped watching after season 2, so I didn't really get into the Riddler Penguin of it all. But this show, I think I finally get. I feel like I get him now. Like his scenes with his mother, with his family, with the scene with Alberto, we can talk about it later. There's some stuff I'm like, oh my God. He has such an deep insecurity that I feel like is going to resonate. And I don't know if it's just like, maybe this is something like Lauren LaFranc wrote this. This is her show, right? It's within Matt Reeves' universe. But there is something about the Riddler in the Batman and this Penguin. And Sophia too. There's like this deep insecurity that they mask with like other stuff. It's so interesting because I don't think that anyone's really explored that before. And I'm like interested in this like version of, we were talking about this before we started recording. What would a Matt Reeves Harley Quinn look like? Right? Because we've been introduced to certain characters that I'm curious as to what a Harley Quinn looks like in this universe. What would a Poison Ivy look like? What would a Scarecrow look like? So I'm just like interested because Matt Reeves and Lauren LaFranc, they seem to get it.
Yeah.
They get the villains really well. And I don't know if I was anticipating that. I just was like,
I don't think any of us were because we've seen, because we've had very different types of Batman universe. We have had the Keaton era, then we've had the Schumacher era. May he rest in peace, but those movies were goofy as fuck. And then we had Campion. So listen, I love Joel Schumacher because he did Phantom of the Opera. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. But then we had the Dark Knight universe, which again was very, very grounded. But where where characters like Poison Ivy, for example, or Clayface wouldn't necessarily work because they are very fantastical. I think if anything, when I look at something like because Matt Reeves is also involved with Batman Crusader, and that's kind of like. I wonder if he just gave us a little taste of what his Harley could be like down the line. Like I agree with what you said before we started recording. She's definitely probably a doctor of some kind at Arkham, but I don't think she's gonna have the Joker dynamic. Also because
I hope not. Can we just
that's why I'm like I'm also so excited for Joker 2 because like it's not gonna be like, oh, she was his psychologist who like now like they're of the same world, and again I get I get it, comic book nerds, I get it, this is what the way it was in the animated series, in the comic world, but like that doesn't mean that it can't be seen as problematic today, just because we didn't think about it 30 years ago when some of these characters were created, it doesn't mean that those problems don't exist. 30
years ago. Yeah.
Wait,
30 years. Whew, 30 years. Yes, surely was 30 years ago. Wow. Anyway, we're gonna deep dive into animate all great points, but I don't want to all the speculation about the potential villains is all what it is. Speculation. This is not anything that we've derived from the show. This is just purely speculation.
Yeah, this is just us like nerding up because we haven't recorded.
We're nerds. We've been in this universe for so long, and I love it so much that I want to know what other characters would look like in this universe. I think Matt Reeves would nail it. LaFranc nails it. Like I just think that's so good. So dive into After Hours, the first episode. It's first 1 week, right? After the
1 week
events of the Batman, where Riddler, to remind folks,
previously on the Batman.
Right, previously on the Batman, the Riddler releases car bombs went off, releasing or exploding the floodgates right around the city. The city was flooded, particularly impacting Crown Point, which is important for a character later on we meet, Victor Aguilar. Crime is rising, power vacuum, all this stuff, crime, blah, blah, blah. We meet Penguin kind of just mulling it over. He meets with Alberto Falcone. And I think this is the biggest shock to me is that they just...
I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, I had to go back. I paused and I put, which episode I'm watching? This is one?
Right. I was like, wait, but Michael Zegan's like a big actor. I was like so confused. And then as I've watched, like his presence is very, very needed. But I was like, what? There is very much. It wasn't giving Ned Stark in Game of Thrones getting his head chopped off, but it was surprising to me to see Alberto Falcone get murked this way, particularly. But he did kind of earn that. He was talking, but this gives us a glimpse into who both of these men are. Like Penguin is a deeply insecure man,
Oh yeah.
deeply insecure. Can we talk about that, Andy? Let's talk about.
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, like so, he gets to, he gets back to the club to, collect some material, and that's when he runs into Alberto, and I'm just kind of like, where is this about to go? And again, their conversation, like, yeah, like, even, I mean, listen, that insult he threw at Oz wasn't even that deep, and he was like, he started chuckling and laughing, and then poof, 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 and I'm like, oh God, this man needs so much help. Yeah, again, I just, because again, like, as someone who did love the Gotham TV show, love seeing so much of Penguin's background. Like, I think he's definitely one of those more tragic Batman villains. Again, like, I can feel for someone like him or Mister Freeze. Whereas, with Joker, I'm like, you deserve every bad thing that happens to
Right,
you.
that's fair.
So with this, like, seeing I think if anything, as we see his insecurity, we all see his ability as a survivor. Because again, like, I think it's really, I thought it was really neat that they actually, like, we really see, it's both like a previously, but jokes aside, like, when we also see like new scenes of what's going on in the city now, like, yeah, like, this is the time for someone like Oz to step up and like claim his power.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, that wasn't even that bad of an insult. That was soft. But yeah, I would say it, yeah, again, I really, yeah, because the Falcons, they've always been, because we don't have Karma anymore. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have Sophia and Alberta. That will be, oh, no, not Alberta. Okay. So um it threw me off. Again, it was kind of like, yeah, like, I knew I haven't seen this actor before, but I'm like, yeah, his name is big, and I'm like, he's played
Mm-hmm.
Alberto. Like, again, like I thought that something like the Penguin TV show would be a natural place to explore the rest of the Falcon family, but they were like, suck on that, he's dead.
Right. That's a good point. I think a lot of fans, very deep Batman fans, myself included, Batman Dark Victory, The Long Halloween, and there's another one. It's like kind of the Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb trifecta of Batman crime family stories. Like that's like the quintessential. So I think people were like looking at this. It's like Matt Reeves is clearly going on this, and it's true. He's taking elements from this, but he's very much with this episode. Very with Lauren LaFranc and him. They're like, this is our story. We're doing our own thing while taking elements of those stories, but like this ain't no Alberto Falcone is the holiday killer here. Oh, that's spoilers for the comic books. But that's not going to happen here because he's very clearly dead by the end of this episode, unless they're bringing in Clayface. Like there's Alberto Falcone is dead. So
well, you had a couple months ago. You had a
I know
very
Eve
good
Carlo, who is the blonde lady we meet with the white hair, right? His Oz's like friend. I think, did we meet her in this episode or did I just?
Yeah, no, that was this episode. Yeah,
Okay.
because he needed an alibi.
Yes, he needed an alibi for Alberto's murder, right? Her name's Eve Carlo, which is Basil Carlo's last name. So I did have that theory. I don't know if that's I don't know. I also have not finished the last the season. I only have like a few episodes left. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Alberto Falcone's dead. He's dead, right? So there is no holiday killer. So that's like a huge twist in this thing for me as a comic reader. I'm like, so what is the future of the Falcone family? What does that look like? I'm so curious about it. So it does give us insight into both Alberto as a person and Oz as a person. And then we move into him like we just talked about Eve. We moved into him like disposing of the body. We meet Vic Aguilar, who is my baby Afro Latino, who is me. I see him. I see you, my baby boy. I love him.
And he's fucking. I watched it because his breakout role was on
Runaways. In Runaways, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he that kid knows how to fucking act, because like there will be, because his character in the comic is very complex, where like initially you would think that he is one of the good guys, but his character definitely has dark elements in that show that I'm
Mm,
like, so when he got cast on this, I'm like, ooh, oh yeah, he deserves this. He deserves this gig.
he's
And
cool. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I also I also had a little trouble like how to say his last name, but because I was like, is it who is Victor from the comics? Is he this or that? But my
No,
um
he's a new. I believe he's a new, completely created character. I don't think I don't know if he's in the like most of the cast is they're pulled from the comics, except for a couple who are created or were pulled from like live action series. So that's
hmm,
another like which I think is interesting, which we'll talk about later on. I'll I'll brief you on that after we
yeah.
finish this episode. But yeah, Vic Aguilar is stealing Oz's car, his bright ass purple car. Why does Oz have this bright ass purple car? Why? 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 Why?
I really liked the car. I was kind of like, oh, this is a this. I mean, because he had his aesthetic is very purple, blue, from things we've seen, like the
Mm,
iceberg lines and so on. But yeah, even I was like, in broad daylight, because I will tease. There's a scene involving his car in the next
yes.
episode that is where I started laughing so hard. I'm like, okay, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. You will
Mhm.
see to our listeners, you will see it next week on HBO. But yeah, I can we if I can just drive off a little bit. I love the production value on this show is like it feels just like it's in the movies. Because sometimes
Yes.
like when we do spin-offs from movies to TV shows, I always get like, is it gonna be just as good? Because like you could see some of the Marvel shows sometimes when they done spin-offs from the movies, like they don't. Yeah, but here like I'm like this is top notch, and that's why I'm like, one, I'm glad it took so long for us to get the show because this has been in work since I think
2022. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So it's like yeah, like they've been working on it for a long time, and like, like just being back like in this Gotham, I'm like, okay, like this, yeah, this feels like they could have filmed this during the movie, and they're just like, okay, we're just saving it for the show, because production value is important. I mean, speaking of production value, and that's why I'm like something like the Penguin makeup is. I cannot believe this is Colin Farrell. Like, I cannot believe this is him, and this is because there's again, like I see pictures of him as his normal stuff, and then I see Penguin. I'm like,
Right.
this isn't him.
He was talked about that at the panel. He was like, "This is how it made him feel seeing the penguin bust for the first time." And like Mike Marino was there. The makeup, like he like put it on him, like the scar, the beaked nose, the lips, the hairline, the face, like the way his like eyes scowl, but also the shoulders too. The way his shoulders, he like is like this, like and then the limp too, like the way he walks, because he has a thing on his.
Oh,
It's just all
yeah,
so wonderfully put together.
yeah.
It's a different take on the what penguin, like Danny DeVito's penguin or Robin Lord Taylor's penguin, but it is such a good way to show that Penguin is a disabled criminal overlord. It is so smart. It's so cool. Oh man.
What
I
do you think of the shot when they showed when he took off the when he showed his foot?
it was just like it was so everything is so beautifully done. I think it was respectful to I'm not a person who has like obviously, and I'm a pretty able-bodied person. But I thought it was a beautifully respectful way. Like they don't lean on his like just like they're like, oh, despite all this, he can do that. Like it's just like a part of who he is. It's not,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. It's everything about his it's very clear that his shortcomings are because of him as like his personality, and not because of anything physically. And I think that's really important. Like his ability, his like the way he walks is just like that's just how he walks because he's a disability. His like what I think this was like beautifully done. I think it's poetic and it's smart to show what typically an ugly Gotham villain in I guess in a softer light. I feel like this whole show is kind of there's some moments later on that I'm like, God damn, I forgot this is a motherfucking villain.
Yeah.
Earlier episodes, they really do a great job of softening him and like telling us like he's just like a guy that's trying to live up to his dad's memory and he is motivated by his mother wanting to. There is like, there's just some good shit here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that he takes that and he sees that in Vic. That's why he gives him a chance, because he could have killed. He fucking shot all his kids. He could have killed them. He didn't give a fuck. He gave Vic a chance. Why? Because he saw something in him, right? Like,
Exactly.
I think that's beautiful.
Well, again, that's why I like villains like Penguin and Mister Freeze and even like someone even like Scarecrow, who's like because he was abused by his dad. I feel like that's why I'm like I like. I love someone like the Joker because like he's a good villain, but like I'm not gonna be like I'm rooting for you. Like I feel
Right.
sympathetic for you. Like even like when I watched, because Joker, because it's coming up soon and again. When I watched the first Joker, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for this man. He's making all the wrong choices because he
Terrible
feels,
person.
yeah, he's a terrible person. But like with Oz, I just feel like okay, this is. Again, he's done horrible shit, but it's because I think he has had to make a lot of tough choices as a survivor, and I think that's why something like this is the type of show that can work. Like if they said like tomorrow, like, oh, we're doing a Joker show with Barry Keoghan, I'm like, no, no, I don't know, I don't think this is gonna work.
But I wouldn't mind exploring it. Can you imagine? Because like between Colin Farrell and Barry Keoghan, there's all of the Gotham villains either Italian or Irish. That's fine.
Oh my god, I didn't think about that. Maybe if that Arkham show gets resurrected, he can like
Maybe. Yeah. Sorry. Continue with your
no,
thought.
it's fine. It's fine. But like, yeah, like that's why I really liked like his dynamic with Victor, for example, because he's like, I think he really, yeah, like Victor, because we get some clues about Victor's situation post Riddler attack, and that it's very rough for him, and that's why like. I kind of hope that Victor survives throughout this show, because again, like, like, because I almost kind of like imagine it, because right now he doesn't really have much of a spine, and I really would like to get to the point where like when we finally see him, like, like, because he's always like when he's okay, so when he's walking after him all the time, he's like walking like that. I want to just see him like when he's like walking like straight back.
That's a
He's
good
kind of and
point.
he's kind of like, hey, Mr. Cobb, what do you want me to do next? Like something like that. And then again, here's the thing, because I've been following Lauren LaFranc's work since, because she was one of the one of the longest writers on Age of Shield, which is like, in my opinion, like one of the best Marvel shows of all time. So like she knows how to flesh out characters, put depth on a weekly basis, and by the way, I am so fucking relieved that this is not a binge show. That this is going to be a show we can actually enjoy every week, because because again, like when we got the screeners, I'm like, oh my god, every episode is almost 1 hour long, because I don't usually watch HBO shows, and I'm like, I'm used to being like, okay, 41 minutes and 19 minutes of shitty
like
CW
56
commercials.
to 110, like an hour and 10 minutes. I love it.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. You know what I just remembered is that how timeless this Gotham is, because again, like a lot of technology is old, but then you see like when he takes Alberto's phone, and like it's a smartphone, because he like he does the ID check on his face.
Yes, that was so smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I like.
Details are good. Yeah.
Is it also, by the way, about that when he was like getting ready to carry down the body down the stairs, and then he's kind of like, wait, he's dead.
I know.
I started laughing. I'm like, this is such a dark moment, but I'm like, this is funny as fuck.
And it's a reminder that Oz he's not an anti-hero. He's just straight up villain. We're just seeing the story from his perspective, which is fun, because then he just do whatever, which is, there's some shit. I will keep saying this. There's some shit he does later in the series. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, let's talk about the Falcons.
Yes.
Oz gets a call that his operations are being pulled. We get to meet Sophia. We also get to meet Luca Falcone, who is not an OG comic book character. He was actually added into a previously live action series. So I love that they're like just bringing in like different. He might have mentioned it, but he's never been a fully realized character in the comics. He was brought in as a character so he's Carmine's little brother. And then we have Johnny Vitti, the cousins. We have another Johnny Beatty's the underboss, which means he's like second in command. So if the Falcone main boss isn't available, Johnny Beatty answers like he's the primary boss. And then we have Moish and then some other people. Oz comes in, he's like chit chatting. We meet Sophia. All she cares about is where her brother is. Kristen Milioti. Kristen is so fucking good. So fucking good at this role. She's a great actress. She's always been on the peripherals of the big projects she's been in. Wolf of Wall Street, How I Met Your Mother, the things that I've seen her in, I've only gotten glimpses of her acting. Oh my God. I'm astounded. Her eyes, her like little like movements of her head, the fact that she covers up her neck, everything. She's so, and like the thing is like, when she was casted, I was a little bit like, oh, she's small, because like Sofia Gigante Falcone is big in the comics. She's a big lady, but
I didn't know that.
She's huge. Yeah, part of her technique is just smashing dudes. But I think that her presence killed. What did you think of, like, let's talk about the Falcone. What do you think about the Falcones and Sophia and Johnny?
Yeah. Like with Sophia, like, you know, I also love Kristen. You know, even though I don't like How I Met Your Mother. I think it's a garbage show, but I watched till the end, and when she came in, she was like one of the best things that came in, which is why I hate that they killed her off in the end. So terrible stuff. Guys, don't binge. How I Met Your Mother. It's not worth it. But it was interesting because I got introduced to Sophia in Gotham. She was played by Crystal Reed, who got to then be Arcane for Swamp Thing.
Yes. Shout out to Swamp Thing. R.I.P.
Yes. Because I was like, I'm sitting watching the episode and kind of like, it's been 30 minutes. Like, where is she? Like, when are we gonna meet her? So I'm like, oh, maybe we don't get to see her until next week. And then she shows up, and I'm like, oh, I am terrified of this woman.
She's scary.
The careful smirks, like she doesn't give you like a full on smile. Like, she will give you smirks, and I'm like, I feel like if she ever smiles fully, that's when you be like, you need to run the fuck out.
Deeply unsettling woman. Deeply unsettling. Beautiful.
And I just looked up in the comments. You were damn, yeah, she's a big ass.
They captured every single thing about her, like the haircut, that eventually but it's just the size, which is like a thing that unfortunately, like, comic books are like women 6'7", like Starfire, all these women, but like the actual casting a 6'7" good actress is probably harder than we would like. So yes, would I have loved a 6'4" Starfire in the Titans comic? Yes, but we got on a diet, Mama Diana, so it's like she's great as that character. So all she had to do was just put her on a milk crate, make her taller than Dick, but they're cowards. So anyway, that's my thing. My one note is that I feel like people are cowards when it comes to a woman being taller than men, and they shy away from that too often. So that's my last frontier. Let tall women be tall women. Put Kristen Milioti on a fucking, I'm going to say her name so Italian. Put Kristen on two fucking
fingers everywhere. For our audio listeners.
Damn it. Like, she's taller than fucking Penguin is historically the shortest villain in Gotham.
Yeah, this is a very tall Penguin. Like, I remember when the first set photos came out for Batman, I'm like, oh no. He's kind of tall though. Like, I didn't, because Colin Farrell is a big dude in general. So I'm like, oh no, like,
but it's the way he carries himself. Like, Colin does a really good job where he's a big imposing dude, but the way he makes himself small in his facial expressions and the way he's like, all right, like he'll step up and be like, I don't agree with this, and as soon as someone's like, shut the fuck up, he's like, okay, all right, fuck. Like, the way he makes himself small is such a good acting choice, because it is very Penguin like. When there's bigger bosses in the room, like, all right, I'm not gonna fuck up. Like, I got the Penguin I've been reading in the Catwoman comics is a little bit different. So he's already like, he's just one of the heads of the crime family. It's like the Hasegawas, and like there's like Black Mask and stuff like that. So I'm just like, the Penguin that exists now is a little bit different. We're looking at a Penguin that's like deeply insecure. He's not in charge of shit. He's just trying to claw his like way into something, and right now his piece is owned by the Falcones, and so Sophia's like coming in like, where'd you see my brother? What's going on? Like, blah, blah, blah. And we do learn why Sophia's so passionate about her brother. And, you know, they go to, Oz and Sophia go to lunch, and like, we learn that he's a fucking master manipulator and liar. He's
Yeah.
really
Oh, the gaslighting this man causes. I'm like, I know
very
it's wrong, but I'm like, damn, these are good tricks.
right. He's very good. She knows immediately, doubts him immediately. Like, you're a fucking liar. Because we learn later on, way later on, why she is so doubtful of him and just trusts him on a deeper level. But like, he plays her. He's so good at it. He's like, oh, I knew about the mushrooms and the drugs and I was in on it. He didn't tell me about you though. Playing on her insecurities because of what she'd already been through. And the only family member she had through everything she had been through was Alberto. So Oz not only was like lying to her, but he was playing on her insecurity about her one family member that she trusted, not telling her all of the truth. The mushrooms were together. Like, we learn later on that where the mushrooms come from. Like, that one from Alberto. So like, I think that's like, it's just so interesting to see Oz like quickly clocking a situation and being able to manipulate based on that. That's talent. That's really smart. And and I don't know maybe he gets that from his parents, and we'll learn a little bit more about his parents later on, but that's a very talented skill to have.
I was curious what your take on this was when they were at lunch, the way she was like, I want to say, the way she was stuffing her face with like, with the, I was like, because everyone was like kind of creeped out about it, but I'm just kind of like, have you all never seen a hungry person before? Like, I'm like, I wasn't sure what.
That's a good point. This is high society, right? This is very high society. This is high society, upper crust, like rich people who take private jets to places. So seeing someone do something uncouth as to eating with their hands is just like, that's like, you're basically an animal. Is this culturally insensitive? Absolutely. This is upper crust white New York, or not New York, Gotham culture, but it's very based on like Hampton's upper class New York. Like, they were looking at her, she's like a fucking animal, but also her reputation precedes her. We also learned that like she was convicted as,
the hangman.
Yeah, she's in Arkham for a reason. I think that was part of it. Like, she's eating like an animal to them, which isn't silly because people eat pizza with their hands. People eat nachos with their hands.
Or hamburgers with their hands.
Right. Like, a lot of American foods you eat with your hands. But it's also the fact that she's a convicted criminal that was, I think it was, what was it? They said it was a DA forgave a bunch of, or commuted a lot of their, I can't remember what they said in the first episode, but she's out because they forgave her thing, whatever, because all the shit that was going on in Gotham. But that's this like bougie upper class behavior. Like, oh, but they're also afraid of her, which with her reputation is good.
Which is refreshing because we only have a handful of female Batman villains in the comics. We're used to our Harley and Poison Ivy and Catwoman, but so seeing someone like her, like being able to, that's why I'm like, I loved, again going back to Gotham, like what one of I know people made fucking fun of her all the time, but like I actually loved Fish Mooney. I thought like that was like,
Fish Mooney should be in the comics already. Why isn't she? In the comics? It's crazy to me.
She's black. I think that's why. That's probably why they're like, no, we can't have that. We can't.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think it's weird because Fish Mooney is a fun character. They could have introduced in the comics already, but they haven't.
But all they kept was like, oh, she's just doing Eartha Kitt, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing Eartha Kitt like beating people their shit out with a baseball bat. Vanessa, because I wasn't in the room because I was at a different press room, but I heard that the first year she went to Comic-Con to Gotham, she brought the baseball bat to the interviews. Like, and she would put it on the table, and she's like, this is what I use. This is what I use. And people were like,
it is so funny. She's such a troll. I love it.
Yeah, so like that's why I'm like, when we see someone like Sophia here, again, like I'm like, yeah, women can be dangerous. Women can be powerful. You should fear her. Yeah. So it's like, again, that's why I'm like, if she ever gives you a full smile, you need to run. That's why I'm like, the little. That's what she always does. To the people listening at home, I just did like her like half smirk.
Yeah, she does a little shudder with her smile. That's like almost a stutter. Like she's trying to.
Yeah, that's a better.
Almost trying to hold it in, but it's like peeking through. It's very good acting. Very good acting. And you
And
made a
again,
good point about
mhm.
women, the like women on the show. I think Lauren LaFranc does a good job of like bringing in women in the show that are powerful, but not. It's a balance too. Because I know how the Enzos were like, oh, there's too many, blah, 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 blah. But like you can't argue that with Sophia fucking Cohn. Sophia Falcone can kill most of the Gotham villains in a fucking blink of an eye. She's a fucking serial killer. Like in the comics, she's a very indomitable serial killer, and I appreciate that they are like they're exploring that and like introducing Oz's mom as a character was smart too, because I thought it was going to be like when I first introduced her, I thought she was just going to be like this old doddering woman, like, all right, Oz, what do you? What? No, this woman is a sharp. She, she she wants her son to be the fucking overlord of Gotham. She's the reason why she's fully his motivation, part besides his
She's a
father.
full stage mom.
Fully, she is she's the Kris Jenner of Gotham. She is his mother. Like he's Kim Kardashian, she's Kris Jenner. She's like, get it together, get it. Like that's crazy to me.
That's a good metaphor right there. Yeah,
Really
no, because I was also like, because when they showed us Oswald's mother
Mhm.
in Gotham, like they made her out to be
Oz,
very like
sorry. His name is Oz in the show. We're calling him
Oswald.
Oswald because that's the comic character.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, no, Oswald. No, sorry, Oswald. But his last name is not Cobblepot. Sorry, my bad.
We keep saying so like in the Gotham show, like when we met his mom, like they made her very much like oh, I'm like I'm very sick and very old and stuff, but here she's like, I gave birth to you. You're gonna do some good shit in this world, and I'm like, I'm here for it. And again, because
Yeah.
I don't know much about Oswald's, like Oz or Oswald's comic book roots. Like I just know that he's evil. That's what they usually always done. Like, he's either the mayor of Gotham City or he's running the club. And in
Yeah.
this case, I'm just like, this is
Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, because I think there is room in this universe for him to become mayor at some point.
I agreed. No, I completely agree. I think, especially if we see Batman 2 at the end of it, they're like, we just see a poster for like vote for Cobb. Like that would be fucking cool. I think that'd be
Yeah.
a great way to achieve. But like, we'll see what happens at the end of this series because there's a lot of surprises that I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't know, but I definitely do agree with you. I think we could see an opportunity for him to be mayor. Andy.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say like it makes more sense in this in this universe. Like for example, like I couldn't see like Danny DeVito's Penguin ever becoming mayor, but in this but in this world, I could see like Oz going through the kind of redemption arc, I guess, amongst the people's citizens of being like, I'm the one that you need. You don't need Mayor Real or whatever. So because like when they did the previously on, I'm like, oh, they actually did get a black woman to become mayor.
Yeah. That was cool. I love that they referenced that, like too. Like they made sure to reference all the little like things in the first movie, which is or the Batman movie, which is smart. But to wrap up this episode, we need to talk about Sophia figuring it out. Oh, you mentioned this. Him having this bright ass purple car in the daylight. Sophia figuring it out. Like obviously, people notice a purple car outside of at any time of night. A purple car outside of a house, anytime. So she figured out that this man was outside of her brother's house. Pulls him out. She's got her dude fucking torturing him. Oh my god, that was so brutal. Having like the barbed wire. Like
I was also curious what that was.
I thought it was barbed wire. Like it looked like, or it was just like a regular wire, and it was just like squeezing until it started like it eventually would have ripped his arm off. And that's like insane method of torture. But she was just like, she was explaining like, oh wait, I think I missed something. I did say we did miss this. Oz visited Sal Maroni. We did introduce ourselves to a new character, I believe, in this universe. Did we see Sal Maroni in the Batman?
No. That's why when Clancy Brown got cast,
Clancy Brown, the motherfucking Clancy Brown, is Sal Maroni. Oz visits him in prison, gives him his fucking ring back. We learned that the ring Carmine Falcone's been wearing, and Alberto started wearing it but until Oz killed him, cut off the ring, gave him the ring back. This is all part of this is so crazy that all this is part of Penguin's plan, right? Like he's like, here, I give you this as a fucking peace offering. When it's
he knew that he was like, oh, this is not gonna be good. I love Clancy Brown so much. I mean, listen. I mean, for one, is there a point where I ever hope to see him play a hero? I would be okay with it, but I don't need it because he plays villain so good. I can't, again, because we're gonna see a lot of the Maronis, throughout the series. But
yeah.
He just never stops being bad at playing villains. He only keeps getting better, because he was on the, he's Lex Luthor. He's probably like most likely, if you were growing up in the 90s, he was likely your introduction to Lex Luthor.
True.
And then he was on the Flash, and he was Despicable there too, and he was on Daredevil. He played a very despicable character there too. And here, I'm just. Yeah, because we all know what we know Maroni plays, a vital part in a certain Batman villain's rise later on, so I kind of hope he gets out of Blackgate at some point to cause some chaos. How did you like him?
Oh, Clancy Brown is an icon. I'm excited to see him, and the actor who plays his wife, Nadia, she's so good. She has the most beautiful voice I have ever heard in my life. The best voice, I swear, I've ever heard. Like, I would pay to listen to her talk about anything. Like, I'm so excited. It's interesting that they, like, the Maronis and the Falcones are typically Italian-American in Gotham, and they made this and the Maronis, I think Persian-American, or Iranian, because, Clancy's white, but...
we definitely white.
But the son, we meet the son later, and, like, there's, like, it's very, like, Middle Eastern, Iranian, centric, which I think is so interesting. Like, we get a little bit more diversity in Gotham. Like the criminals aren't all just like variations of white Europeans. I think it's a fun mixture of things.
No. When she started speaking Farsi, I'm like, I'm sorry, what now? Because I was just kind of like, oh, she's she's just gonna be like someone that he married that came to this country or whatever. But the fact that because when Zag means dog, and I'm like,
yes. Was that so cool for you? This is cool.
Because now, because I can shoot, because my mom and they don't give two shits about comic book shows or comic book movies. But like with this, I'm like, y'all need to watch this mobster shit right here. You need to watch this and see what she's doing. Yeah, because I've seen Shora in so many things, and she has really, like again, it's like when she speaks English or Farsi, it's kind of like it's very much like poetry, because I saw her first in I don't remember which X-Men it was, but like it was in the early 2000s. But it's gonna be fun seeing what the Maroni, what she, the extension of the Maroni family will be up to. Because we were talking about it, we were all talking about it right before we started. Is that why is every Batman villain someone with an American accent? Right. We love Colin Farrell's accent here, but it's like, come on, he has one of the hottest Irish accents of all time.
I know. They could have had Penguin be Irish. Let him be Irish, American. Like, would have been fun. I agree.
Yeah.
There's so many thick accents in this, like really good accents in this show, and I think they could have even gone further and had Colin just have Penguin be Irish. That would have been cool as shit. Cobblepot I feel like you could make that Cobble or whatever, that could be an Irish last name.
I agree. I very much agree. Yeah. I want to go back to the torture scene because.
Oh my God! Yes. Because this is heading into the end of this episode.
And I was kind of like, that I was not prepared to see a naked penguin, but I'm like, this is what we can do on HBO. Because the thing is, like, here's the thing: like, we obviously know that he's wearing a fat suit, which I know it's very controversial. I hear this is my, people don't need to agree with me on this. If I get canceled, I get canceled once an episode on this podcast. Don't worry. But I think if you can do it well, where it doesn't look like rubber, like most fat suits do, sadly, then I'm like, yeah, I don't mind that. In this case, like, this looks like really good. I don't know what material Mike and his team used, but I'm like, this is. I don't feel offended by it. Now again, there might be other plus size people out there that that might get offended by it. That's perfectly fine. But in my case, as so who's also plus size myself,
Hmm.
I didn't mind that. Like he was even like seeing him just like he was walking with his like shirt open with because I have a lot of chest hair. So seeing him having a lot of chest hair, being a big dude, I'm like, I don't like all everything you do, Oz, but like I hear you, I feel you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think that like the days of like in the past where like Shallow Hal or like fucking the the like fat Dutch dude from like the Austin Powers movie, where fat suits were like used to, and that was part of the joke. This is not like, it's part of the building of his like body, and like they never make his size a joke, like just like they never make his disability a joke. They never make it a part, like it's just who he is. And like it, I feel like you could tell like people are like, they break him down because they expect him to be more intimidating because he's a big dude, but he's not. He's got insecurity, so you can bring him low. When you can like tear someone down, it doesn't matter what their size is, because, and so that means you can't fear them. And I think that's just a smart decision to do for Oz. They never make his size the joke or the story. Like it's not the point. His it's all of it. It's everything that makes him. I feel like it makes it like super important. I think the problem with fat suits largely is that that's the joke, right? And I think, but there's also the flip side of it, like Christian Bale didn't wear a larger suit, larger body suit for American Hustle. He gained the weight, and people still
Yeah,
criticized him because that's technically like it's like it's like that's not great for your health and all that.
it's
So
definitely
like,
not great. Yeah,
right,
because
like it's like swinging
did
back and
you?
forth.
Yeah,
Sorry,
did
go
you
ahead.
watch it? Sorry, did you watch? Did you ever watch Daredevil? I know you're not much into Marvel, but have you watched any of
Yeah,
Daredevil? Okay, okay, good.
I've seen every
Yeah.
Daredevil, the show, the
Okay,
movies.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So Vincent D'Onofrio, he's a very tall dude, but he has, God bless it, because again, here's the thing, we don't have a lot of plus size characters where like they get to be depicted as intelligent, because people always think that the fatter you are, the dumber you are, but
Hmm.
Kingpin is like. I have loved Kingpin since I was a kid because he was he was a big dude, with 3% body fat, as he always points out. But again,
Fine, muscle.
but I remember I think it was like when he was doing Echo, one of the new Marvel shows that he's in, he said, I can't put on this weight anymore. Like
Yeah.
they now fight. Like, so now when you see Deadpool Born Again, he
Hmm.
does have like a suit, but again, it's not made of a joke. It's not made like,
He's part of the
like
character.
it's exactly. So like
And
if
he's
you
the
can do,
character. Like essentially, like, if he loses weight, he can't keep it up. Like the fucking discourse around Dave Batista and him like aging and not like keeping the weight on because he's not taking like he's smaller than he used to be. Like people are like, oh, he's not as big as he used to be. Like that's not healthy as you get
wait, are
older. Like
people actually mad at him?
he lost weight. Yeah, he's not as muscular, but that's also like I'm pretty sure he was on like other stuff like that wasn't helpful. But that was like discourse going around on Twitter for a little bit. It's so stupid. But anyway, that's
Stop
another thing. Is like,
commenting. But yeah, leave people's sizes alone. Let them be
right,
whatever size
leave
they want to
people's
be.
bodies alone. I think that's another thing. Like if a character is portrayed as this, then I think that's okay to like either if you can't find a character that if you can't find a good actor that looks like that person, it's okay to like enhance that person with other stuff. Like I don't think that that's a big deal, but I also am not gonna like if someone's like has criticism about that's
Yeah.
fair. I'm not gonna argue against that either. But just to wrap up this
Yeah.
episode, we get a car crash onto the Falcone estate. Open the trunk, and there's dead body Alberto Falcone. His pinky's missing, and Payback is scratched into the top of the trunk, and Sophia loses her fucking mind. And Vic and Oz meet up later, and they have a conversation. Obviously, it was Vic that actually did it. So like Vic and Oz are like fully like locked in. Vic is his right hand man.
The vibe.
I just need to like we need to talk about this. Holy shit! I feel so bad. First of all, I feel terrible for Sophia because that was her only support was Alberto, and then this happened. So let's talk about this for a little bit, and then yeah, we can wrap up.
Yeah, it was because I kept wondering like who did this, who did this, because at first I'm like, okay, Victor's not picking up his phone, he's not answering. I'm like, oh dear Lord, this is not good. Um,
I
but then like when I see Payback and I'm thinking, Victor, The one thing I wish, okay, I will give this. There's one criticism I need to give this episode, because this is a solid premiere from start to finish. The
Yeah.
one criticism I have is I felt there was an awkward cut between when Oz was, like realizing that he was going to be free to suddenly he's back, out there with Victor. I'm like, we should have seen him be
Yes,
released.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. It was too. There was like they cut too much out of it. Like it was a pretty long episode already, but they were like, all right, we can't. We got to cut this out. But I do think it was a bit jarring. That and there was something else that happens later on we can talk about like in a future episode. I'm like, oh, we could have definitely seen more of this. But I agree with that.
I hope we get deleted scene, because HBO shows they do like Blu-rays and DVD still, right?
I don't think.
Again, this is my first HBO show since Watchmen that I'm not following like on a weekly basis. So
The cutting was weird. However, do appreciate that we get to see what Victor is willing to do for Oz. That's interesting. And then the kind of setup between the war between Maroons and Falcons. So we kind of see what the season is. Here's what the season's gonna be like, right? So I think that's interesting. But we like wrote our little like I wrote a little review of the just kind of my thoughts, non-spoilery thoughts on the show. To get one comment, one person was just like talking about the Batman and how it's like another win for the Batverse, but they were asking, is Gotham as atmospheric and does it have interesting locations? And I will say that, yeah, Andy, you answer this. I'll answer after you.
yeah, no, definitely, you definitely feel like that Matt Reeves has been very, and his team were very careful making sure that, when revisiting this city, like adding, things that we've seen in the movies, that it feels like, again, because I don't think they filmed this because I think most of Gotham City in the Batman was filmed in England, which is a very different choice for Gotham City, because usually we're used to Chicago or downtown Los Angeles as Cleveland.
Just kidding. But yeah, no, it's usually
maybe they did use Cleveland at one point for Gotham.
Detroit, probably. Yeah. I would say a metropolitan, and usually American metropolitans that are a little bit more seedy and a little bit more rundown, typically.
But so there is definitely like this. Definitely feels like a Gotham City, which again we talked about this before. That it's very timeless. Where again, like you can have, it feels like you could be walking in the 90s or early 2000s, but also the 2020s at the same time. And there's definitely some intriguing places we see throughout the series. Again, at least from what I watched up to so far. So I've let Vanessa, add her 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gotham feels like a real city. There's a moment where we kind of dive into Vic. This is later on the season where we dive into Vic's trauma a little bit, that like really kind of cements all the shit that the like Gotham people have like had to deal with since the Riddler, like those bombs went off. I don't think we really talk all of the times, like we've talked about like Avengers and like Batman versus Superman, like the cities get destroyed and like we never sit and live with the people, right? Like we almost never get to. I think that was a fun part about the Netflix Marvel shows, is that we get to talk about a little about the aftermath of the Battle of New York, and explore like what the citizens are going through. And I think this is like Vic is a really great way to explore how the actual citizens of Gotham are dealing with the shit that these fucking criminals and these vigilantes are doing. Like they're fighting these things, but what are the people that are just living? What are they dealing with and what are they going through? So I think I think that they do answer that question and they explore that a lot through visuals, through the people, and just the way like there's like car chases and like certain things that go like happen that are just like really, I think that explored Gotham very well. And there's like a thing that happens where there's protest signs, and I'm like, there's some funny protest signs on there that I thought were interesting. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up.
Great premiere.
Yeah, such a good premiere. Oh yeah, final thoughts on it. I mean, yeah. What are your final thoughts?
I am excited that if this is the kind of DC era we're in for on HBO, because I'm sure there's more Batman spin-offs coming up. We have DC studio shows coming up. I'm like, if this is the kind of quality we're gonna get, This is going to be a wonderful experience, because again, we always talking about, are there too many superhero stuff? It's like, no, we just, we always need superhero stuff. We just need different types of superhero stuff.
Good
And
quality stuff too. Yeah.
yeah, so as we leave, like, listen, I've enjoyed my time with the CW, but like I am so ready to hit the unfollow metaphorical button on the CW and move over to HBO. This was again, this felt like, again, because I don't watch a lot of HBO shows. It's, especially, because I know this will be moving to Sundays um in the coming weeks, and I'm like, now we get to, now I get to be part of this experience, because again, we just, these mythologies, these properties, they deserve to be well handled, and including, but not just in the films, but on TV too. So yeah, I'm glad that Warner Brothers invested so much into not only making this a Max show, but also an HBO show. Where, like, yeah, we're really continuing living in the Matt Reeves' Batman universe. It doesn't feel like a cheap knockoff or anything. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, we're just green screening thing locations that we couldn't use because the movie sets are too expensive.
Hmm.
So also, I thought it was very, like, my last part is, I thought it was very cute when Oz and Victor were like bonding over, like, mixing up the flavors in the drinks. I'm like,
I
okay,
know, it's cute.
yeah.
Bonding.
What are your final thoughts, Vanessa Shork, on this premiere?
The premiere is so good. I think this is such a good glimpse into the expansion of the Reeves verse. Yeah, I'm excited. I thought this was a great look into Penguin, and there's some good stuff that happens later on. I cannot wait to dive into. I cannot wait. So yeah, I would say I would give this a 4.5 out of 5. I think this is a excellent, excellent series. Yeah. All right, y'all. Visit multiverseofcolor.com for the latest news and info about D Studios TV shows, films, comics, and other projects, along with latest episodes of every podcast on the network. We have so many. Please check them out. What are the active ones right now that are actually
The
active?
actual one, right now, we have Supergirl Radio, Flash Podcast, These Studios Podcast, we have Sandman Podcast. For how much longer, that will be interesting, because because nobody knows what's going to happen to that universe, sadly.
Mhm.
And,
Unfortunately,
and of course, whenever Vanessa and her fam at the Literation Room wants to record,
that's not active. That's not active. We're
yeah, yeah, no, it's no, listen, like, they can record as often as, or as whenever they want. But yeah, but those are the 5 shows that we're still marketing on the podcast now. But we're hoping to, as we're kind of moving more into the multiverse of color era, again, we have, we dropped our first original this year with the Shona Whisperer. And
mhm.
we're hoping to, me and Vanessa, we've been talking about some drag podcasting, about trying to work that in.
Yes.
So, Trixie Mattel, if you're listening, we would love to talk to you. And
She has her own
yeah,
podcast. With
yeah, 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 no, yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, but there, yeah, we have a lot of, multiple color. This has been a very good year for us. With, we had great stuff at CinemaCon. Vanessa was fucking killing it. And again, we Comic Con was, that was also a huge success, and we're not stopping anytime soon. So definitely hit multiversalcolor.com and follow it on all the socials. Vanessa, where can people find you and all your great work in the world of Vanessa Shork?
You can find me at Vanessa Shark on all social media platforms, vanessashark.com, which I haven't updated in forever, but that's fine because I have a new job that I'm very busy at. But
Yes, tell them about your new job. That's so exciting.
no, I don't know. That's not relevant. I love my new job. It's awesome, but yeah, I am busy. But I want to focus on this too. So like, yeah, I'm trying to like make sure I prioritize the right things. But yeah, vanessashark.com is on hiatus for now. But I'll be here for Penguin and all the future. I assume Harley Quinn at some point. But yeah,
Oh my god, do we still not have a date for Harley Quinn?
I don't know what's coming out. But yeah, so hopefully that comes soon. And then Creatures Commandos, the we'll be covering that as well. Andy, where can we find
What
you on?
am I up to?
Everything.
I'm at Androbite on all social media, literally every social media, because you never know if Twitter's going to go away. Elon Musk, stop terrorizing us. You can find me at screenrant.com, where I cover superhero TV shows and movies and interviews. I will actually sort of locked yet, but I might be directing one of the directors of the Penguin, who
Ooh.
I think he did the first 3 episodes, from what I understand. So hopefully you will see some stuff there. While it's on the hiatus right now, the showrunwhisper.com, showrunwhisper.com with the Showrun Whisper podcast, it's out there. The first 10 episodes are available to listen to, where we go inside the minds of showrunners, television showrunners in Hollywood, and kind of what it's like to navigate a TV show, especially in a post-strike era. And because I think that's why Penguin was one of the shows that got affected by the strikes.
Yes, true.
Because these studios were fucking greedy, and didn't want to pay their actors or writers, which I mean, if you don't have actors or writers, who's going to make your content? AI sure as hell not going to save you. Um, and I am also now back to streaming. I'm on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. And back, I have a brand new gaming PC that took me 8 hours to put together with my good friend Nils. The stream is still up. So if you want to see me not understanding tech whatsoever, go enjoy that stream on YouTube. And check out. At some point the Flash podcast will be back. Again, I've been doing it for 10 years. I deserve a little break.
Right. You've been working,
Yeah,
hustling.
yeah. But yeah. So lots of good stuff. But yeah, I cannot wait for everyone. I also, yeah, guys, send us your thoughts on the Penguin. We want to hear your thoughts every week. So you can email Podcast at gmail.com for long list of feedback or thoughts related to any of the Max DC shows. You can also at DC Studio Podcast, no S there, because it got too long, Elon said. No, that's actually been always a problem on Twitter anyway. So definitely send us your thoughts, and we will read, because we're recording these episodes in advance, but we can always read your thoughts on the preceding episodes on the next recording. So good stuff. Penguin is here to stay, and I'm here for it. Catch it on HBO, everyone, or Max. Max, it's a stupid name.
Okay.
See you on the next one, guys.
Bye.